Good morning, girls. In the previous session of J2EE, we discussed about session tracking approach. What is session? Session is a temporary, small, unique connection between a server and the user or a client, enabling it to identify that user across multiple page requests or visit to the site. Right? There are three different techniques to maintain the request associated with a particular user. Number one is URL rewriting, second is hidden form field, and third one is cookie. These three are main session tracking approach. Except this, we can use session interface for tracking to keep track of any user. Right, we have already discussed about URL rewriting and hidden form field. Now in today's session we are going to discuss about cookies, the third method of session tracking using cookies. Let us start. A web server can assign a unique session ID in the form of cookie to each web client, and for subsequent requests from the client they can be recognized using the received cookie. Cookie is nothing but it is a small piece of information. This is persisted between the multiple client requests. A cookie has some properties like it has a name, a single value, and optional attributes such as comment, path, and domain qualifier, maximum age, and a version number. This may not be an effective method because many times browsers do not support a cookie, so it is not an advisable way to use this to maintain the session. Right? Still, we will learn about cookies, how the cookies work. Let us begin. All modern browsers having a option to recognize and receive a cookies from the server. Right, a cookie is a string sent via the HTTP request and HTTP response header. A cookie has some parameters, as I told you, that name, value, comment, maximum age, domain, path, secure, and version. Before we start discussion on these parameters, let us see how cookie works. By default, each cookie request is considered as a new request. In this technique, we add cookie with response from the servlet. So cookie is stored in the cache of the browser if browser allowed to store it. If we switch on the option of browser for storing a cookie, then after, if request is sent by the user, cookie is added with a request by default. Thus, we recognize the user as the old user. Here, we means we are talking about server. Server recognizes the user as the old user. There are two different types of cookies available. Number one is non-persistent cookie and second is persistent cookie. Non-persistent cookie means the cookie is valid for a single session only and is removed each time when user closes the browser. Whereas the meaning of persistent cookie is it is valid for multiple sessions. It is not removed each time when user closes the browser. It is removed only if user log out or sign out. There are some advantage of using cookies. Most simple technique of maintaining the state, and second is cookies are maintained at client side, not at the server side. So these are the main advantage of cookie. And the disadvantage of cookies are it will not work if cookie is disabled from the browser. If client do not allow the browser, do not allow the cookie, means it keep the user keeps the cookie disabled from the browser, we cannot handle the request. Only the textual information can be sent in cookie object. These are the disadvantages of cookies. In Java, to maintain the cookie, there is a class with cookie name javax.servlet.http cookie. This class provides some methods to maintain the cookie. Here you can see the list of constructor of cookie class. Cookie, this is our first constructor of this class, which constructs a cookie. One more constructor is there with two parameters, cookie, which has two parameters. Number one is name and second is value. Both are in string format. Here this constructor is used to define or construct a cookie with a specified name and value. The cookie class has some methods also. Here on the screen you can see the list of methods with its descriptions. First one is set maximum age. This method sets the maximum age of the cookie in seconds. Second method is get name. This method returns the name of the cookie. The name cannot be changed after creation. Get value. This method returns the value of the cookie. Then set name. This change the name of the cookie. Then set value. If you want to change the name value of cookie, this method is useful. So these are the list of important method of cookie class. These methods we will use in our example, right? Next is other methods required for using cookie. For adding cookie or getting the value of cookie, we need some methods provided by other interfaces. They are listed here. First one is add cookie, which accepts one object of cookie type. This method of HTTP servlet response interface is used to add cookie in response object. And another method is get cookie. This method is used for getting all cookies from the browser, right? This method is available in HTTP servlet request interface. Okay, so these are the methods required for defining a cookie. Now let us see the example of servlet cookie. Here we have to define one index.html file, second first servlet.java, and one more file is required, that is second servlet.java, and then deployment descriptor file with name web.xml. We'll define all these things in our NetBeans, right? Let us begin with index.html. Here you can see the coding of index.html. We'll take a form tag. Here we will set the action servlet_1. Here keep one thing in your mind, no need to give an extension, right? Without extension we will define a name for our first file. Then method equals to post. Whatever method you want to take, you can define over here. Then one text box is required and one submit button, right? So this is the coding of index.html. Okay, let us begin this example in NetBeans, right? Open your NetBeans IDE. Here I have already done this example. Now all of you know that where to define index.html, right? We'll define index.html in web pages folder. For that, what you have to do is right click on web pages folder, click on new and select HTML. This will open a new pop-up window on the screen. Give an appropriate name to your HTML file. As we know that our welcome file is index.html, so we'll define index.html through this window, right? I have already defined that file. Here you can see index.html and code is already given in this file. Form action servlet1, method is post, then one text box is placed in this page and one submit button. Okay, that's it. Now define your servlet by right clicking on source package, go to new and select servlet. Give an appropriate name to your servlet. For example, here I am giving servlet underscore first, right? Then click on next. This will ask for a configuration of servlet deployment. Select this checkbox. We want to add information to our deployment descriptor file. That means we want to add information to our web XML file, right? Here we will change the class name, servlet name and URL pattern. What we will define for our class name is servlet first. Whatever name you have defined for your class in previous page will be displayed in next page. So here you can see the same name, servlet first. Okay, now I want to change the servlet name, servlet1, as I have used in my HTML file. Here you can see servlet1 and my pattern is /servlet1. okay, /servlet1. Okay, that's it. I am not defining this page because I have already defined the first page with the same name. Here you can see first serve.java. Here we need to import 3 different packages. First one is java.io package is required. Second, javax.servlet package is required. And the third one is javax.servlet http package is required. Our class with name first serve is already defined, which extends http servlet class, right? The method process request, you will get it ready made. This method has 2 objects, one of type http servlet request and other one is of type http servlet response. These are the common lines for each servlet, right? Our content type is text/html and we'll define one object of type print writer because we want to write something on our HTML page. That is possible through this object only, right? Now your risky code will cover all the risky code in try block. Okay. Now string n, define one object of type string. We'll get the parameter request dot get parameter unm. unm is available in index.html. Here you can see unm, right? If you want to get the value of text box in your servlet, then you have to use request dot get parameter method to get the value of this parameter, right? So I wrote request dot get parameter unm. Whatever value will be entered by a client in unm text box, we will get that value in object n, right? Then what we will do, we'll print that value through out.println welcome plus n. Now I want to generate a cookie for this user, so I'll write cookie ck. For that you have to create one object of type cookie, as I have already shown you the constructor type, right? Cookie, the name of cookie is uname, and value for this cookie is whatever we enter in our text box which comes in n, and that value I want to assign in uname cookie, right? This will create a cookie object with uname and value will be n. Now response dot add cookie ck, adding cookie in the response. Out.println, here what we are going to do is creating submit button on our same servlet page. For that we have to enclose all the HTML tags in out.println method. Form action is servlet2. I want to execute second servlet from this page, that's why I am writing form action equals to servlet2. I want to provide a submit button with value go. For that I have to write input type equals to submit and value equals to go, and then finally out.print form tag is over. Okay. Now second servlet we will define. Second servlet, before we define a second servlet page, let us move back to first servlet. Here our action is servlet2, right? So in web XML file, what we have to do is you can find the servlet pattern servlet2. Keep these things in your mind. In HTML page, index.html, here our action is servlet1 for our first servlet page, and for second servlet page the action is servlet_2. So both will be available in web.xml file. Go to XML, right? Here you can see servlet1 and servlet2 both are available. Okay, go back to your second servlet page. Now we'll not continue our example in the same session. Okay, we'll continue the same example from second session. I'll show you how to define a second servlet page in my next session. Thank you.
Thank you.